All right, let's get right into it this week. Plenty to unpack in the Indonesian security landscape, drawing from, as always, our range of Indonesian news sources.
And some really interesting developments this week.
Absolutely. Right away, Densus 88 has been busy. String of arrests. Looks like they're targeting suspected NII members.
Yeah, 8 individuals they apprehended, across 4 provinces too. And we're not talking just any members. These were some higher-ups. Komandan Jawatan of KPWB the 3rd, Sumatra, for one. Komandan Kompas B Imam Bonjol, NII MYT faction. Several others too. Seems like a significant blow to the NII network.
Yeah, and what stood out to me was the geographical spread. We're looking at North Sumatra, West Sumatra, South Sumatra, and even West Java. So clearly a very coordinated operation.
Right, has to be. Suggests a pretty high level of intel gathering going on beforehand. Actually, this kind of fits into a broader trend too. Remember the Kapolri's report? Indicated something like 181 terror suspects total arrested so far this year, 2023, 2024.
Huh. So not just an isolated incident then. Maybe more of a proactive stance against NII activities, you think?
Yeah, potentially. Be interesting to see what comes out of the evidence analysis. They mentioned documents, some books on jihad, cell phones. All that was seized.
Yeah, that could be insightful. Their communication methods, how they recruit, maybe even some planned operations.
Especially with the Pilkada coming up, election periods can be volatile. Could be an opportunity for groups like NII to exploit.
True. And speaking of elections, we do have those on-the-ground updates coming in from Trenggalek. That's East Java.
Right. Logistics distribution for the Pilkat, it's underway. Ballot boxes are being moved out. Tight security, of course. TNI and police personnel involved.
Though, interesting little detail here.
Yeah.
There was a shortage, ballot papers, initially.
Yeah, I saw that. The KPU did address it quickly, though. It makes you wonder, was this just a one-off hiccup, or is this a sign of things to come? Logistical challenges as the election gets closer.
Something to keep an eye on, for sure. Smooth logistics, that's absolutely crucial for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Got to make sure the elections proceed securely, fairly.
Absolutely. Any disruption at all, and, well, has ripple effects, doesn't it? Public trust. Could even impact the outcome.
For sure. Now, let's shift gears a bit. Indonesia's involvement on the international stage. Notable deployment heading to the Central African Republic.
Yeah, 240 Indonesian soldiers, UN peacekeeping mission. Quite a diverse set of tasks they've got. Construction work, handling explosives, and then the big one, civilian protection.
I thought it was really powerful how some of the articles included those personal reflections from the soldiers themselves. There's this pride, obviously, in serving their nation. But you can feel the weight of leaving family behind for a year-long mission, too.
Absolutely. Important to remember that. It's the human cost of these peacekeeping efforts, putting themselves in potentially dangerous situations to contribute to stability in a region, well, far from home.
Real testament to Indonesia's commitment to international security, peacekeeping.
For sure. Shows a willingness to be a real active player in global affairs.
Now, shifting back home, we've got a concerning development here. Police shooting police in South Sumatra.
Yeah. AKP Tadang Iskandar, off-duty officer, shot and killed AKP Lil Rianto Anshari, also an officer. Motive, according to the reports, retaliation. Seems the victim had taken some law enforcement actions against an associate of the perpetrator.
And, well, things escalated pretty dramatically, didn't they? Not only did the perpetrator kill his colleague, but then went on to fire shots at the police chief's residence.
Wow. Yeah, that's brazen. No doubt raises some serious concerns about internal discipline, potential corruption. Within the police force?
Yeah, how does this impact public trust in law enforcement? It's a big deal. What does it tell us about the internal dynamics within the police force?
It's a tough question. Not an easy answer. Definitely warrants a very thorough investigation, though.
And what about the systemic issues? The things that might have contributed to this tragic escalation? Definitely something we need to keep a close eye on.
Absolutely. Understanding the context, the root causes, that's key if we're going to address these internal security challenges. It's a stark reminder, isn't it? Security challenges, they can come from within, too, not just those external threats.
Yeah, no doubt. Really brings into focus the whole accountability and transparency thing.
Yeah.
Within the police force itself.
Exactly. Public trust, that's paramount. Incidents like this, they can do some serious damage to that trust.
Yeah, for sure. So it's interesting, right? We're looking at all these threads. Kind of a multifaceted picture emerging this week.
Definitely multifaceted. From the counterterrorism front, those NII arrests. Then we've got the logistical side of the Pilkada preparations. And then even, zooming out to Indonesia's role globally, the peacekeeping deployment, all interconnected, wouldn't you say?
Wow, absolutely. Interconnected, yeah. And then you throw in this incident Sobering reminder, right? Those internal challenges, the things that need addressing within the security apparatus.
Right. It really highlights how complex this whole thing is. Indonesian security, there's the progress, the commitment, multiple fronts too. But then you've got those vulnerabilities, the internal tensions. They require a different kind of attention.
For sure. I mean, for anyone really following this closely, it's a reminder, right? Nothing exists in isolation, these elements.
Not at all. Take the upcoming elections, for instance. Might see groups like NII trying to, capitalize on things, the political climate, even as the nations out there contributing to international peace efforts.
And then you have the internal dynamics. Institutions like the police force can have huge repercussions on their effectiveness, public perception too.
Which brings us to, I think, a pretty crucial point. How are these events going to shape things moving forward? Indonesian security, what's the trajectory?
Yeah, it's a big question. Will all these heightened security measures surrounding the elections be enough to deter groups like NII, or will we see them adapt their tactics?
And how's Indonesia going to balance those international commitments while simultaneously tackling these internal security concerns?
Right. And then the big one, maybe. What concrete steps are going to be taken to, restore that public trust after this tragic incident? Law enforcement, the whole thing.
All these questions, they demand ongoing analysis, a real nuanced understanding of the landscape, how it's evolving.
It's complex, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Ever-changing. But I guess that's what makes it so fascinating to dissect each week.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, it's through these deep dives, these conversations, that's how we start to grasp it, the intricacies, the potential ripple effects, all of it.
Well, another week, another layer uncovered, huh?
As always, it's been a really stimulating discussion.
Until next time, I guess we'll all keep our eyes peeled, see how these developments unfold.
Keeps us on our toes, that's for sure. This Indonesian security landscape, never a dull moment.
You got that right. Definitely a lot for our listeners to digest this week. But hey, valuable exercise, I think. Connecting the dots, all those seemingly disparate pieces.
From those counterterrorism operations to electoral logistics, and then even the international peacekeeping, all happening while we've got these internal security challenges playing out too.
Provides that holistic view, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And, underscores the importance of staying informed, engaged. This situation, it's dynamic. Potential implications, they reach way beyond just the events themselves.
Well said. Always a pleasure dissecting these developments with you.
Likewise. Until next week, may your analysis be sharp and your insights even sharper.
And to all our listeners out there, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the Indonesian security landscape. Back again next week. More insights, more analysis. Until then, stay vigilant.